Park It people, we are back at the Hidden Valley for another Hidden Valley Open. We changed over half the layout. It's by far the best layout we've done in my opinion. Stick around and see so for yourself. Thanks so much to Justin at Hidden Valley Golf and Country Club in Livingston for having us out again. It's a beautiful property, especially this time of the year. With this event only being twice a year, arguably it's probably the most fun event that we put on. So without further ado, this is Marshall from the Park It team. Let's hop into it. Hole 1 is a par 4. Get you a good downhill rip to kick things off for both tees. It's 616 feet from the far tee for A pool, nice and easy. There's also a 500-foot short tee for the B pool. A pool players will go to the short tee with an OB stroke if their drive goes OB. If you go OB from there, proceed to the second drop zone with an additional stroke penalty. From there, play normal OB rules where it was last in bounds with stroke penalties for each occurrence. B pool will follow the same procedure by going to the drop zone first, then continue play from where it was last in bounds. OB on or beyond cart path left and cart path right. Don't let that cart path sneak up on you again when you get to the green to putt. Hole 2 is similar to Hole 2 from the spring tournament, still throwing on top of this small hill through the gap in the trees, only this time the basket is going to be off to the right. This also gives us an extra bit of room to squeeze another hole in on the front to make it an even more fun layout for this year. It's a par 3 about 475 feet away with lots of downhill elevation. Hole 3, this one's brand new, 295 feet, par 3 heading back the other way. You'll need to navigate your way around these big trees with a bit of a low ceiling in order to get a clean look at the basket on the green. That cart path beyond the green is OB if you are on or beyond it, so keep that in mind for putting and don't go too far off the tee. Hole 4, previously this was Hole 3, but now it's Hole 4. 280 foot par 3, slightly uphill, still going to be the same hole. This hole requires players to hit one of these gaps in the tree line in order to access the green. If successful in doing so, your work isn't over from there though, because now you have to stick the landing or else you'll be going down the hill from the mound where this basket sits. Hole 5, previously this was Hole 4, this is also going to be the same hole as before. 270 foot par 3 downhill, double mando through a bit of a daunting gap. If the mando is missed, you will simply throw from in between the mando trees with a 1-stroke penalty. The ball golf green on the left is going to be out of bounds. For the right hand players, it's a backhand turnover or a forehand, probably whichever you have more confidence hitting the mando gap with. Don't go too far or this tree will get in the way of your putt. Hole 6. For those who have played here in the past, you'll recognize this as the gauntlet hole. We don't require you to go up the gut of these cedar trees anymore. Now it's a longer shot that allows you to go around or over however you want, but you'll still have to deal with them on your putt if you're slightly short or just out of position. On or beyond the cart path that's on the left and the cart path that is long right will be OB. Hole 7 will be somewhere on the cart path here for the tee. We try to give enough tee width to tee from the cart path or the grass, kind of leaving it up to the player to make that decision. And that basket's going to be located at the end of this row of trees on the right. It's a 312 foot par 3, and I always find that this fairway plays skinnier than it looks. On or beyond cart path left and cart path right are both OB. Hole 8, 347 foot par 3. Miss the big tree that's out there by itself to the left of the basket and don't go long or else you'll find yourself OB if you're crossing that property line. Typically there's some tall grass that marks the property line there. We should also have some string as well, but you don't have a ton of wiggle room back there. so be careful not to go too far. Hole 9 is a good rip. It's a 430 foot par 4, but it's got quite a bit of elevation game with a very protected green. Tall pine trees on the right want to cut off the hyzer. The woods on the left are jail, but do not play as out of bounds. This hill has a reputation of some really nasty rollaways, so be sure to land one softly and get it to stick. Hole 10 is sort of new, sort of a throwback to the first ever hole we had here with some slight tweaks. It's 320 feet, par 3, but this basket sits right on the edge of a sharp corner that turns into a steep hill. The woods on the left can be jail. Unsure if that's going to be marked as fair game or OB, but that will be confirmed in the caddy book. This is sort of a high risk, high reward hole, so choose wisely on how aggressive you want to get. Hole 11. This hole is brand new and has been several years in the making. Michael from the Parkit team dreamed up this beauty a long time ago, and we have finally brought it to life. Down here in the bottom is where a pool tee is going to be. It's a long, windy 579 foot par 5 through the wooded hallway. Really don't have to bite off a whole lot at a time, as long as you can stay clean and keep it in the fairway. We will try to have it cleaned up a bit more before the tournament, but it is very crucial to stay in the fairway. Eventually you'll pop out on top of the thick woods and follow the old fairway the rest of the time down this line of pine trees. B-Pool won't have to chop their way uphill through the woods. They're just going to tee off from up here on top and just have to go down this hallway. Super neat hole. Excited to try it out and see what it's like. Hole 12 is a gorgeous downhill tee shot. Very picturesque. 423 feet, par 3, right across the creek there. I believe the creek is going to play as casual relief if needed. So if you do land in there, you are free to backtrack your shot to where it was just before it crossed into the creek. That way you have safe footing on your putt. Again, that's not required. You can putt from the creek if you wish, but that is an option if you need it. Hole 13 is 505 feet going uphill, but it is a par 4, so you don't have to get it all at once. Go across the creek and up the hill to the right. It's going to be pretty wide open until you get to the low ceiling that kind of protects the basket. Slide one up under that and you should be set. Hole 14, this hole is also brand new. It's very short, but man, look at this gnarly green. Lots of big trees with plenty of character are just waiting to try to cause issues when you're putting. So hopefully you can pick a good spot on this green and hit your spot to give yourself a clean look at the basket. Hole 15 is a 626 foot par 4. Shoot one out of the woods from the tee. You can go on either side of this dead creepy tree at the end. Your only job is to miss that tree. From there you are headed up the hill towards the clubhouse. The basket's going to be tucked in this loose grouping of large pines, just waiting for someone to have a throw in. I hope somebody makes that happen, but this uphill approach might make this second shot more difficult than the drone makes it seem, so that might not be a possibility. Either way, beautiful hole. I'm happy we added this one. Hole 16 is the same pin location as always, but we keep tweaking this one a little bit. It's a 634 foot par 4 this time. Basically just take your pick on how you want to get around this large grouping of pine trees. You can go down the left side at the bottom of the screen and flirt with the OB cart path. That's where the drone's going to be flying in a minute. You can lay up to the mouth of the woods as well and go directly up the gut. It may be a bit shorter for you, but you do have to hit lines through the trees. We did clean up this area a little bit in the trees, so there are actual lines and it is decently open to get through there, so that is a viable option for sure. I guess you could even go around the far side on the top of your screen, but I'm not sure if that's even worth it. Plenty of options on this hole. Hole 17, the signature hole. Beautiful island hole, never changes because it doesn't have to. Such a pretty hole, I seem to mess it up every time. You can still lay up short of the creek before you attack the island if you wish, but the island continues to be the grass inside of this oval looking loop that the cart paths create. The drop zone will be short of the creek for those of you who don't make it in bounds off the tee. I'll probably see y'all there. Proceed to the drop zone with a stroke penalty. Any shot after that is just going to play as a one-stroke penalty. Play it where it was last in bounds. The bomber funnel hole wraps it up for us. Only this time we are much more forgiving off the tee. It's nearly 1,000 feet long. This 930 foot par 5 is going to have a string on the right to widen up the fairway for your tee shot only. This is going to provide you some extra room on the right side of the cart path that is going to play as inbounds for your tee shot. But from there, the string will slowly taper inwards towards the cart path on the right. So you've got a little extra room off the tee to get in bounds, but after that, you're still going to have to hit really tight lines, hit your landing spots, because that fairway does get skinny. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. That's a wrap. I think we ended up changing like 10 holes or so. I believe this is the best layout we've ever had on this property, so we're super excited for it. Feel free to share some feedback with us, whether it be positive or negative, on what you all think about the course. We love hearing from all of you. That's super helpful to hear. As always, keep up with us on socials. We appreciate everyone coming out. Let's get ready to go have some fun. We'll see you all out there on the course.